It's still happy hour with John Gaskins, so go ahead, have another.
Meanwhile, leave it to Cam Newton to entertain us and illuminate us on the Minnesota Vikings quarterback battle, specifically what Kyler Murray brings to the table if he wins it. Now, by the way, they're in minicamp. Both players spoke. Kevin O'Connell spoke, and you'll hear the latest, in case you missed it, on the fact that they're splitting even reps and how the guys feel about it, and maybe if you actually step back from the situation, the hint on Kyler Murray is probably going to win this quarterback battle. But first, if you, like me, believe he's the guy, 87 starts, 7 seasons in the NFL, mostly for a bad team, has taken his lumps, has learned to process and play quarterback. As Curtis Riggs said, he throws receivers open. We heard Justin Jefferson mention the other day, Kyler Murray knows how to throw it to a receiver to make it easier for the receiver to get it. J.J. McCarthy, as a rookie, terrible at that. He telegraphed receivers, held on to the ball too long. We all know that. Yes, J.J. McCarthy has 10 starts with the Vikings. That's 10 more than Kyler Murray has. And it sounds like he has an advantage, a head start with the locker room. His teammates love him. But for those of you who are skeptical about Kyler Murray, if he wins the job, because, look, he has mostly not been an elite NFL quarterback. He was a number 1 draft pick that many feel hasn't played like one. He's very mistake prone, and he seems a little grumpy and not team-oriented as a leader. I submit to you the fact he played for the Arizona Cardinals, and now he's playing for the Minnesota Vikings. And Sam Darnold certainly proved in 2024 with the Vikings, 25 with the Super Bowl Seahawks. Go from a crappy situation to a pretty good one, and you'll perform better. But Cam Newton says it in such a more colorful and entertaining way than that, so hit it. Cam Newton's podcast.
If I'm Kyler Murray, I'm looking at something that had already been a resort prior to me coming in. I was playing like I was at Red Roof Inn. Say, oh my goodness, it's 4 seasons in there.
Yeah, it is.
I got Justin Jefferson, got Addison, got a defense.
Let me tell you something about that Red Roof Inn. You can't act the same way at Red Roof Inn that you act at the Four Seasons.
No, you can't. This ain't Continental Breakfast.
Exactly.
The perks is different, and the expectation is different, too.
So first of all, Cordell, you can tell me yes or no. I guess maybe I should put on a cowboy hat, a Birmingham Black Barons jersey, and we should play some hip-hop music, and maybe we'll have more viewers. Should we go that route? You can't. Yeah, I agree. Cordell says I don't think so. We'll stay in our lane over here. So Red Roof to the Four Seasons. Now, first of all, no doubt the Cardinals were a Red Roof Inn. What was that Kyler Murray was working for? This is a club that had 4 straight losing seasons. And by the way, 3-14 or 4-13 in 3 of those 4 straight losing seasons. The other one, 8-9. The best regular season the man has had, his team has had, 11-6 in 2021. That's 5 years ago. That's ancient history. 1 winning season, 4 seasons of 5 wins or worse for Kyler Murray in Arizona out of 7. So overall, working with a bad team. What does a quarterback need around him to perform well? Well, how about an offensive line? Well, offensive line-wise, when you go to Pro Football Focus rankings, he has been mostly working with crap in both overall and in pass blocking PFF ratings. There's only been 2 years where Arizona's offensive line is ranked in the top 12 in the NFL. Mostly it's been ranked in the bottom 12. So he hasn't been protected well, which means, he struggles when he has a heavy pass rush because it happens a lot. Cardinals not been a productive team, especially since Cliff Kingsbury, his first coach, was fired. He's had a defensive-minded head coach, and when you have that, you have inferior offensive coordinators working with you, and the Arizona Cardinals offense and offensive line has been lousy the last 4 years. So is the wide receiving core, which has been bottom 10 in the NFL, according to PFF, the last 4 years. 23rd or worse out of 32. And in fact, pretty much, once again, 5 out of 7 years, Kyler Murray, not just bad offensive lines, bad wide receiving core. Yes, he's had DeAndre Hopkins toward the end of his career, but since 2023, the highest ranking an Arizona Cardinal receiver has been 28th, and that'd be their best receiver of their top 3 or 4 every year. So mostly bad O-lines, mostly bad wide receivers. Anybody would struggle in that situation. Fortunately, Kyler Murray checks out to be usually a 10th to 20th rated quarterback in the NFL because he can overcome some of these issues, with his freak video game playmaking. He's a freak when he runs. Sometimes when he scrambles to throw, he can throw darts and lasers and bombs for days. The Hail Murray against the Bills, we've seen him at his best. And when he had a good O-line and a decent defense and a 20th ranked wide receiving core in 2021, the Cardinals made the playoffs. But for the most part, Cam Newton is right. He has been working in a Red Roof Inn. No disrespect, but you're just going to get a bed there and that's it. And you cross your fingers, you don't get bed bugs. Nothing against low budget hotels, but yeah, that's where Kyler Murray has been living in. And then Cam Newton says he's going from that Kyler Murray to a Four Seasons, which I don't know if the Vikings are a Four Seasons. They're a top of the line 5-star hotel or even 4-star. But they're definitely much higher end than a Red Roof Inn. I'd put them in a Hilton Garden Inn. It's a full-service hotel with a good reputation. It's usually clean. The rooms are usually spacious and cool. They got an all right bar and restaurant in there. Some of them are really snazzy. And in some years, the Vikings have been the top-of-the-line Hilton Garden Inn under Kevin O'Connell. They've had 2 14-win seasons. And in those 2 14-win seasons, they had a top 10 scoring offense in the NFL. Not last year, but those 2 Kevin O'Connell seasons is when he had really good quarterbacks working with him. Kirk Cousins is really good. He's not elite. He's really good. Sam Darnold with the Vikings. Some thought he was an MVP candidate as late as week 16. Got him the job in Seattle. So Kevin O'Connell, good quarterbacks, Vikings offense, close to a 4 seasons. And defensively, they are the 4 seasons. 3rd best total defense in the NFL. 7th in scoring defense last year. There's been some fluctuation on the defensive line. Won't be the same players, but guys like Andrew Van Ginkel, the pride of Rock Valley, Iowa, there's some studs on defense, and they have a stud, if not the stud of NFL defensive coordinators, Brian Flores, calling the shots. So whether it's Red Roof Inn the 4 seasons or Red Roof Inn the Hilton Garden Inn, Kyler Murray's in a much better residency, and chances are he's going to perform better under those conditions with Justin Jefferson, with a top 5 defense, if it is a top 5 defense again, with an upper tier offensive coordinator who is Kevin O'Connell calling the plays and developing the offense. He had none of those conditions for most of his time in Arizona, who, by the way, here's a good way to make Kyler look bad. Be in a division where you have a defensive rookie head coach and the 6 of your games a year are against Shanahan and Purdy and the Niners. The Seahawks, which all of a sudden got their offensive act together and already had a great defensive roster, and then you add in Sam Darnold, they win the Super Bowl, and then the Rams with Sean McVay, they should be the Super Bowl favorites this year, with McVay and Stafford offensively. And then now Myles Garrett joining the pass rush, potentially with an out of retirement, who knows, Aaron Donald. The Cardinals definitely have been the Red Roof Inn of the NFC West. So I agree with Cam Newton. I do think this sets up well for Kyler Murray. Doesn't mean he's going to light the world on fire, be Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, but he's got much better conditions to work with, just like Sam Darnold did the last 2 years with the Vikings and the Seahawks. So that's your latest why I'm on Team Kyler in this whole thing. He gives them a much better chance to win because we saw what J.J. McCarthy did living in the Hilton Garden Inn last year. He was the 4th worst quarterback out of the top 32 in the NFL. He was number 29 with everything there. Yes, he's working. Yes, he can improve. But I think it's Kyler Murray that has the head start here. But what is the situation at this very moment with those two? Kevin O'Connell confirmed that they have been splitting reps, even reps. And Kyler Murray, a guy who was a number 1 draft pick and has been the undisputed top dog in his operation for 7 years, he's not used to it. He probably doesn't like it. And here's what he said about it on Tuesday.
I think the toughest part is, again, I was there for 7 years. I know I had 2 different, offensive systems, but at the same time, you're getting all those reps. Now having to split reps, it's me already being behind, not getting the amount of reps that you would typically want a guy to get learning an offense. That's probably the toughest part. Just again going back to the past, being in control of everything, understanding what we were already doing because I was comfortable within the system. Now coming into the new system, learning on the fly, trying to play fast, efficient, and let it loose while learning is that's the toughest part.
Okay, you take that bite, especially if you read the quote, and again, he's got kind of a grumpy tone to him. It makes it sound like he's complaining. What a whiner. He's just being honest. He's not used to splitting reps. He's learning a new offense, and he's not getting as many chances as he'd like to get better at the offense. And if you took those 35 seconds out of context, which I just did, you might translate that as, he's complaining. Oh, he also said this about this splitting reps situation in another 30 seconds or so.
Being uncomfortable for me, I've kind of just went, full head of steam and embraced the part of being uncomfortable. Like I said, I haven't been in this position much, but now being in it, why not make the most of it? Obviously, there's times I'm out there thinking and stuff like that where I wouldn't be thinking usually, but it's part of the process, like I said, and this is the time where, we're all getting better.
Okay, so he is a big boy. He's embracing being uncomfortable. A little adversity, a little competition, a little challenge isn't going to hurt him. It's why he was brought in, to challenge J.J. McCarthy. At the very least, challenge J.J. McCarthy, if not overtaken. Of course, when Kyler and J.J. spoke last week, we heard about J.J. mentioning how these two guys are sitting on the opposite sides of the classroom. Certainly doesn't feel like Kyler Murray is any sort of a mentor helping J.J. out. And when J.J. was asked about splitting reps, he just said, hey, I'm not the one who controls it. But what the bite I found interesting from J.J. on Tuesday was this, off the question from veteran, intrepid Vikings reporter Judd Zulgad of Score North.
Does this continue to feel like a legitimate competition, like you're both vying for the starting job through now?
It feels like the same thing every day. I mean, even last year. I'm just competing with myself to be the best kind of person I am for this team and best kind of quarterback. And at the end of the day, the more we do that, rising tide lifts all ships, and we'll be in a good spot by the end of it.
Notice how JJ did not directly answer the question if he thinks it's a legitimate battle. It's a yes or no question. He wouldn't say yes or no. I am guessing as a guy who is a top 10 draft pick, like Kyler Murray, and thought he was going to be the guy the second he was drafted, and then he wasn't. First he was hurt, and then the Vikings tried to keep Daniel Jones and just couldn't keep him to give JJ a challenge at starting quarterback last year. And they tried to keep Sam Darnold for that matter as well. They tried. They couldn't. And we saw he just got smothered as the undisputed number one without a true challenger certainly with repetitions. And so I don't think J.J. McCarthy likes it. And we need a translator now based off of the fact they are splitting reps, how Kyler and J.J. feel about it. What's happening now? Because this mini camp is over today. Today was the last day. We get into training camp next month in July. That's obviously when everybody hits the ground running. And Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, one of those plugged-in insiders, not just in touch, but a guy who's super in touch with the Vikings because he used to be a Vikings beat reporter back in the day. And so here's how Tom Pelissero believes where this Murray versus McCarthy quarterback battle is headed.
I do not believe that this is a competition that is going to need the entire preseason, 3 games, to sort this thing out. I would say by the end of this week, before the summer break, the coaches are going to have a pretty good idea of what direction you want this to go. I don't believe that this is a world where they're going to divide the reps evenly into training camp, because you need time to build that rhythm and timing and tempo that is essential into an NFL passing offense. Whoever is going to be the starting quarterback is going to need more time on task with those wide receivers.
So there you go. Pelissero wouldn't say who's going to get more reps in training camp, but again, look at the resume of Kyler Murray. Consider the tools that he now has. Better offensive line, better wide receivers, much better defense. He's not playing from behind all the time and making desperate plays, which lead to more mistakes. My hunch is I translate all this to be the Vikings went to get Kyler Murray to play Kyler Murray, not just to have a 50-50 reps battle all summer with J.J. McCarthy. Cordell, yes, no? Do you agree with that assumption, that assertion? Too early to tell? You do. Thank you. And now, just to put a bow on all of this, let's go to another one of those respected NFL insiders, Albert Breer, on the Dan Patrick Show. This was last week, taking a 30,000-foot view on Kyler Murray to Minnesota and how the Vikings have been moving the pieces all along.
Last year, the intention was to put competition in the room for J.J. McCarthy. And Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold found better opportunity elsewhere to become the long-term starter. Like, DJ knew if he went to Indy, there's a better chance he was going to be the long-term guy there. The same way Sam Darnold knew that if he went to Seattle, there's going to be a better opportunity to be a long-time guy there. So then they pivot and they decide, all right, we're going to go all in on JJ. He gets all the reps. His teammates are going to know he's the quarterback, and let's see where this goes. And it went where it went. And so now they've created a competitive situation for him in the room again. And the interesting thing about it is that roster needs to win now. So no one's on scholarship anymore. His draft status doesn't matter. And it's whoever is the best player for us to win right now is who Kevin O'Connell is going to pick. That's going to be Kevin O'Connell's mindset in picking his quarterback now. So it's different than it was last year. They're not worried about the first round investment in the player anymore. In fact, the GM who drafted J.J. McCarthy 10th overall is now gone, and there's a new GM coming in. And so it's a really interesting situation, because I think most of us would have looked last year at Minnesota and said that could be a 12 or 13 win team.
Yeah.
And I don't think very many people are looking at them that way anymore. And what's changed? Well, the quarterback position has changed.
So there you have it. Whether J.J. McCarthy's going to get traded or not, we don't know, and we'll see. But the kit gloves are off. There's no more babying the guy. He has to earn it. And it feels like Kevin O'Connell is going to make a decision in this gap between now and training camp. Who's going to get more reps? Chances are it's going to be Kyler Murray, and that would be the right decision.